That was just a quick sample of music from my new YouTube channel. It's called Mindfulness with MBODY. They're meditation music videos that you can use for a personal meditation practice, play as relaxing background music while you study or you work. Try out the 7-day meditation series on the channel too. The link will be in this video's description. Now, on to class. Enjoy. Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. It's a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So glad you can join me. So this class is simply called Cobra Pose. That's right, Cobra Pose. There's actually a yoga posture called Cobra, and we're going to be doing it today. Now, Cobra is actually a back bend. Now, typically in our soft flow practice, there's some poses that I actually eliminate that are different from my power yoga classes. There's a vinyasa flow, or just a series of movements where we start in plank pose, which we do in soft flow, but then we kind of finish doing a push-up. We lower our bodies down to the floor and we create a back bend. Often it's upward facing dog. So we're going to do another version of that back bend, and it's called Cobra Pose. Now that means, yes, it is a bit of a back bend, but there's more of an upper body connection to this pose. It opens up the chest. It also involves our shoulders. So we'll be working our shoulders and our upper back. So that's what we'll be focusing on today. For our props, you might want to use a strap or a towel. Just a small hand towel will do. We're going to be doing some work. We're going to bring our arms behind us, and just so having something to hold on to behind us, like a strap or a towel, would work just great. So have that handy. And of course, we like to use a couple of yoga blocks. That's going to help us with our back bends that we will be doing. We always do bridge pose, and so we'll be using the blocks. Then of course we like to use a blanket, something soft that you can sit on or kneel on. So again, blanket, a couple of blocks, a yoga strap or a towel, and just in case if you want a nice big soft pillow, you can have that as well. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. Let's start in seated. Feel free to sit cross-legged. I like to sit in half lotus. This is just comfortable for me. I like to sit on something soft and somewhat lifted. It just helps support my back. But if you need a little extra support, go ahead and sit up against a wall or even sit in a chair for your beginning practice. Here we just want to be able to sit up nice and tall with nice relaxed shoulders, and we're just going to tune into breath. You might start with a few deep breaths, breathing in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. Do that again. A nice deep breath in and exhale. And just feel your body settling in. Good. Feel free to close your eyes for this portion of the practice, or you can keep your eyes open and just softly gaze forward or downward. Just feel your breath and listen to the sound of your breath as a way to tune in, a way to really connect to this moment, letting go of the things that are going on outside of you so you can fully pay attention to what's going on inside of you, and being aware of what your body needs. Slow, steady breaths. And just bringing more awareness to your breathing. When you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward to fill your lungs. A very expansive feeling across the chest. And as you are able, keep that uplifting sensation when you exhale as you draw navel inward towards your spine. That's called the abdominal lock, where we have that light engagement of the abdominal muscles. It's a way to keep that uplifting feeling when we create this lock down low. So again, as you inhale, feel the breath rising upward, fill up your lungs. Again, keeping that uplifting sensation even with the lengthened torso and spine. Exhale, gently draw belly in, that light contraction here, creating the lock. Do that a few more times. Very good. Now we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room, then all the way up towards the ceiling. And just treat this like a nice stretch, reaching up as you inhale. Then exhale, slowly allow your arms to extend out and let them float back down by your side, completing that first round of breath. Do that again. Inhale, reaching out, all the way up, lengthening, reaching, that stretch quality. Exhale, reaching out. Good energy through your hands and fingers as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you. Finishing the breath. Now just continue your own movement and your own breath at your own pace. Just moving up and then back down, really just following the pace of your breath. And as you're moving here, noticing the energy in your arms, hands, and fingers, the movement of your shoulders, the lengthening through the sides of the body. Keep that core connection. Remember, when you inhale and everything floats upward, you're keeping that uplifting sensation with the breath in the chest and heart area as you exhale and draw belly in. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time, and when you're complete, you can just let your arms rest down by your side, your hands can rest in your lap. Just notice how the body just settles. Take a few breaths here in stillness. For our next pose, we'll be doing a seated back bend. This is something that we always do as a kind of a warm-up in our soft flow, but it's also going to be a setup for our practice today, for the primary pose that we're focusing on today, which is Cobra Pose. So here's going to bring your hands behind you. Just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. With the arms behind you, this naturally draws the shoulders back, so be aware of that. So both hands behind you, and maybe with a little bit more intention, just pull the shoulders back, and that actually engages the upper back muscles in order to pull the shoulders back and hold them back. One thing to remember, and I'll say this again later, imagine you have a pencil that's right up and down the spine, and you have to squeeze inward with the back muscles to hold on to that pencil. Now just tip your chin up a little bit, not too far, just to help open up through the chest. Now here's the action. As you inhale, press into the ground with the fingers. Feel the energy shoot up the arms and shoulders, breathing in to fill up your lungs. Notice that feeling. Then when you exhale, draw your belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together a bit more behind you. Remember, you're holding on to that imaginary pencil. It's a very active sensation throughout the body, especially the upper body. Again, pressing into the floor with the fingers as you inhale. Breath rising, filling up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, squeeze shoulder blades together. 2 more breaths like that. With that inhale, you might feel a kind of a stretch quality across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. And again, remember that sensation. When you're complete, just lower your chin, looking forward, walk your hands towards yourself, so you can sit up nice and tall. And again, the hands can just rest in your lap. Feel everything relax. Since that was our back bend, let's take a forward fold as a counter pose. If your legs are crossed here, let's uncross the legs and reposition them so that we are in bound angle pose or cobbler's pose. It's just the soles of the feet together. It creates a hip opener. And you'll just hold on to your ankles or shins. And by holding on to them, that should allow you to energize the body and feel your torso lift up very tall. Inhale as you do so. Fill up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, keeping that core connection and just leaning forward, leading with the chin and heart, just a little bit forward like that. Hold and take another breath in, continuing that lengthening of the torso and spine. Exhale, draw belly in, and maybe hinge forward a tiny bit more. You really don't have to go too far for this pose or any pose that we're going to be doing. You can certainly lower your chin a little bit and create a bit of a roundedness in your back. That creates a little bit more space so you can go down a little lower. Just want to be sure you don't feel like you're straining your body or trying to push too far or even too fast into this pose. Again, with any pose that we do today. If your back happens to be rounded here, as you take a nice full breath in, see if you can kind of fill up the back side of your body. When we were leaning back and opening the chest, you can feel that stretch across the chest. Now with our folded forward sensation and the roundedness in the back, can you feel that same or similar kind of stretch quality across the upper back? Try it. And then just take 2 more breaths. Feel that nice expansiveness. And then when you're complete, we need to re-extend the spine, so just lift the chin a little bit. Hinge your way back up to seated, so you're tall. You can even press your hands into the ground to assist yourself all the way back up. And just pause, take a breath. All right, we're going to come to our kneeling posture. Just carefully reposition yourself. So you are on your hands and knees. This is where you might want to use something soft underneath you for some padding and support. I've got my blanket that I like to fold out for my hands and knees like this, a little tabletop position. Now, inhale, lift the chin, looking forward. At the same time, we're arching the back, so we're creating a back bend. Remember, Cobra Pose is actually a back bend, so this is also preparing us. That's the in-breath. When we exhale, you want to tuck your tailbone under, feel your belly button pull up towards your spine. There's the rounded back again, and bring chin to chest. That same broadening effect of the upper back. Inhale, reverse it, tip the pelvis back, belly will drop, back arches, open up through the chest, lift your chin. Exhale. I'm going really slowly here, so you don't have to follow me directly, but feel or notice this motion. It's just a good undulation of the spine. Opens up the back body and some nice movement through the pelvis too. And again, just allowing the breath to help move your body. When we inhale and look up or forward, that's cow pose. When we exhale and round the back, that's cat pose. So endearingly, we call this cat-cow. Finish the breath that you're on and take 1 more breath. And when you're complete, just take your time and just come to stillness in a more neutral tabletop posture. Have a nice neutral neck, so your gaze might be directly down at the floor between your thumbs. Now, if you are using a pad, go ahead and crawl off of that soft pad and just set it to the side. You might need that later, but then come back to hands and knees. Let's get ready for downward facing dog. Here, let's step the hands forward a bit, spreading out the fingers. You just want to be sure your wrists are no longer directly underneath the shoulders here. Spreading out your fingers just gets a nice stretch between each finger, opens the palms, and then kind of press into the mat with the open palms to stretch them open a bit more. It's like a stretch for your hands. You also might feel a nice energy up the arms. That's always good for strength and stability. Now tuck your toes under. We'll do another cat-cow flow. So an inhale, tip chin up, arch the back. There's our back bend, cow. Exhale, round it all out, chin to chest, rounded spine, cat. Hold there for a second and then lift your knees off the floor, sending your hips up into the air. You might need to adjust your feet. Maybe tiptoe forward a little bit, even take the feet a little wider. I'm even taking my hands a little wider, so I have a little bit more space. And make sure your head and neck feel pretty relaxed here. Okay, just nod yes a few times, shake your head no a few times. Nice strong hands pressing into the floor, strong straight arms, but the knees can be bent here, so the hips can lift up. Now take a few steps forward with your feet to about the center of your mat until your feet are flat on the mat. Then slide your fingertips toward your toes. You'll be in a forward fold. Inhale and slide your hands up to your shins or knees and hold here on the exhale. So we've only halfway lifted. And so the pose is actually called half forward fold. So your torso is just long like a table. Get as parallel as you can to the ground. To stand up completely, shift your weight into your heels, bend your knees, lower your hips a little bit, lift the chest, then take your arms out to the side, then stand up tall, reach up into the air, a nice stretch for the body, then exhale, bring your arms down by your side. And we're finishing here in our first standing position. Let's stay standing for a moment and just get into our shoulders. So just kind of roll the shoulders back a few times and then forward a few times. Remember, we're going to be doing some shoulder work because we have to be able to draw them back and hold them back. And that, of course, takes some upper back strength as well. But just get some movement in the shoulders. Now, let's go ahead and do a forward fold and come right back up, our half salute to the sun. Just keeping the body in motion. When you're ready, inhale, let's take the arms all the way up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into an imaginary chair, lowering yourself down. Your belly might touch your thighs, that's just fine. Your hands come down, let the head go heavy. You might touch your toes or let your hands just land at your shins or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs, only rising up halfway to our flat back. Hold on the exhale. Take one more full breath in and out in this posture. You might even feel the nice energy in the legs here. Now, shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, lower your hips, lift your heart, spread your wings, stand up tall with an in-breath. All the way up we go. Good for your shoulders here too. And exhale, arms back down by your side. Very nice. Then another little roll of the shoulders back a few times and then forward a few times. Let's add something else here too. Let's lift the shoulders straight up towards your earlobes. Just kind of just really hunching right here. And then press down as if you're just really trying to send the shoulders away from your earlobes. Do that one more time. Lift and then lower. Good, then you can kind of shake that out. All right, let's move into our variation of Warrior One, like that we like to do for this practice. Again, starting in Mountain Pose, feel balanced on 2 feet here. Put some softness in the knees just by putting a bend in the knees. Shifting weight into your right foot, press firmly into the floor with the right foot. You want to feel tall and lengthened through the torso. Breathe in, fill up the lungs. Exhale, engage your core. Lean forward a tiny bit so you can pick up this left foot and just tap it back. I'm lifting the heel, tapping back with the flexed foot like so, just until it stops. So it doesn't have to be too far apart. Then you're going to turn the leg outward or a pivot to place that left heel onto the floor, shifting the body back so you're balanced right here, center of the body here. Now, place your hands on your hips. You're going to push your pelvis down, directly down with your hands. At the same time, feel tall and lengthened through the torso. That's going to create some space in the belt line, so you can just turn mostly forward. Now, inhale and extend both arms up into the air. As you exhale, bend your elbows to about 90 degrees. Now, we're going to add something here. Engaging the upper back by pulling these bent arms back as if you were walking through a door, but the arms out to the side kind of trap you in the door frame. All right, so you're going to feel this opening of the chest, engagement of the back. Now, this is also preparing us for our Cobra Pose. Cobra Pose we actually do lying on our bellies. All righty, and we're kind of in this posture with the upper body, with the arms. Now, inhale, take the arms back up, straight up. Exhale, bring your arms down. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll lean forward, just getting weight into this front foot so we can pick up the left foot and step forward, balanced on 2 feet. And just to realign, go ahead and inhale and take both arms up into the air. Exhale, arms return to your side. Feel free to shake all that out if you like. We're going to do the same thing other side. Mountain Pose, soft knees, shifting weight into your left foot, root down. As you inhale, feel tall and light up top. Exhale, engage your center. You might even lean forward a tiny bit. You might even feel your left foot, those toes grip the mat so you don't tip over. And then just tap the right foot back so the heel is lifted, toes are flexed, something like this. And then we're going to pivot or turn that back foot planted firmly into the mat. Shift so you're centered. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as you feel the torso extend, making space in the midsection of your body to turn forward. You can keep this left knee nicely bent. Inhale, take both arms straight up. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. And we're going to go through that same doorway, getting trapped in that doorway. So the arms pull back, chest is proudly opening up. And you might even feel this across the back, maybe even your shoulders. That's all good because you want to feel all of that, knowing that your body is at work. Take one more breath here. Now inhale and extend your arms straight up. Exhale, bring your arms back down by your side, hands to hips. Lean forward, put weight into the left foot, step forward, feet together. And then to realign, extend both arms up into the air, reach, and exhale, arms return to your side. Good. Shake that out once again. Let's go through a flow here. Just to keep the body in motion, we'll be doing a second version of Warrior One, and then we'll start really working on things to get set up for our Cobra Pose. I'm just going to quickly adjust my mat. Let's begin together in Mountain Pose. Here we go. Inhale, extend your arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, so out to the side, bend your knees, sit back into an imaginary chair, slowly fold forward. Remember, you don't have to go all the way down. Maybe your hands land at your shins. Inhale, slide the hands back up the legs to re-extend the spine so you're flat like a table. This exhale, fold all the way down, slide down the legs, bend your knees more. Let the back round, let your head go heavy. Low enough so you can place your hands on the mat and just start stepping back. Take your time. Get the feet to the back end of your mat, and then you'll just kind of align yourself in a straight line like this. This is plank pose. And this is where we're going to start setting up later for our Cobra Pose. But for now, inhale. And exhale, bend your knees a little. Send your hips right up into the air. A return to downward facing dog. Now again, you might need to step forward a tiny bit. You don't want to feel like you're going to slip out of this pose. You don't want to feel like your hands are going to slip forward or your feet are going to slip back. You want to feel pretty centered, balanced, hips nice and high. I call this a mountain peak. Let's keep this moving. We're going to pick up the right foot, inhale and extend the right leg back towards the back wall. Doesn't have to lift very high at all. Exhale, bend this right knee. Bring the knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin as your whole upper body shifts forward, kind of like plank. Shoulders over wrists. Wherever the foot lands, just set that right foot down, heel lifted. Now set the left knee onto the floor. If the weight is really forward, just pull back a little bit so there's less weight in the right hand so you can pick it up and go get your right foot and pick it up and send it forward up onto the mat. What we're doing is creating more distance between the feet, because here we'll lift the left knee so you can now have that nice distance between the feet. Pivot or turn that left heel so it's on the floor. Left set of toes will turn outward. Again, we'll need to find center, so shift the body back. I like to rise up to fingertips here to help with that. And also extend through the torso. Your head or crown, the very top of your head is pointing forward. From here, we're hinging up. Even imagine you're opening the lid of a box as you rise up. Let's take the arms up into the air. Hold on the exhale. This is our second version of Warrior One. So the arms are straight up. There's more distance between the feet for the lunge. Let's keep it moving. We're going to breathe in. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Here's Warrior Two. If you need to or want to, you can adjust the feet, which I'm doing. I like to turn this back foot out. It just feels more natural for my knee and ankle. And maybe put a little bit more bend in the right knee without bypassing the heel or ankle. Okay, you don't want to go out like that. Okay, if you did, pull back. Nice and tall, out straight arms. Now we're going to reach out, angled upper body without changing this knee position, just the upper body moving, and then rotate the arms. Reach down with the right hand, reach up with the left. Hold here for just a couple breaths. We're going to do one thing extra with this left hand and arm. We're going to drop this left hand down behind you. I'm going to turn my palm, actually the top of my hand here is going to rest on my low back. Now with this arm, kind of loose enough so I can roll this left shoulder back. Again, we're just kind of opening up through the chest here. Now your right arm can rest on the thigh. You can even place your hand on your thigh, just as long as you're angled here. Good, let's go ahead and re-extend this left hand up into the air. I like to come up a little bit just to create some space in the belt line so we can easily turn. Outstretched arms and then fold. Bring their hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. We're putting ourselves in what I call a runner's lunge. Push firmly into the floor with the hands. Feel the strength in your arms and shoulders. And just pull or slide that right foot back into plank pose. We're going to take a quick pause here by bringing knees to the floor. Just hold here for a moment, just like this. Okay, because we're going to be doing this a little bit later to prepare for our cobra. Tuck your toes under. Sit back into what I call half hero, just to get off the hands a little bit, okay? And so we can just massage the wrists, since we did a lot of work just being on our hands, okay? And I like to give a gentle press of the top of the hand, kind of that reversed flex, just the other way like that, and maybe 2 or 3 pulses onto the floor with the hands. And then we'll make our way back out to the top of the mat with the hands, tuck toes. Let's do another cat-cow. Inhale, lift head and heart. Exhale, round it out. Hold that cat position. Lift your knees, lift your hips. A return to down dog. Let's do the other side now. Inhale, we'll pick up the left foot and extend the left leg back, straight line. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring the knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting body forward, shoulders over the wrists. Set the left foot down anywhere, heel lifted. Set the right knee down, pull the weight away from the hands. We will use the left hand to go get the left foot, just pick it up and place it up a little higher on your mat. Relift the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor, shifting back to put weight in that back foot. Rise to fingertips so you can have some space to extend your torso, crown pointing forward. Now we're ready to open the lid of the box, but you can take your arms out to the side like you're spreading your wings as you hinge your way up. Inhale, arms up into the air. Exhale, just lunge. Hold for a breath. Notice the feelings in the body in this lunge. Ready to open. Breathe in first. Exhale, turn your torso now to the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Again, adjust the feet. I don't know if you can see this, but my right foot is kind of turned inward. I like to turn it outward. It just feels better on the joints. Ready for side angle. Let's reach forward to angle the upper half of the body. Rotate the arms. Remember, you can stay up high just as long as the upper body is angled and you're reaching up and down. The left arm can rest lightly on the thigh or hand on the thigh. We're going to do that same thing with the hand and arm. Bring the right hand down behind you to your low back. Nice loose arm so you can roll the shoulder back, hold it back. It opens the chest. It even engages the upper back, but it's only just kind of one half since we're only working this one arm. We'll inhale and re-extend the right hand up into the air. Come back up a little bit, turn forward, reach both arms forward, and then fold. Bringing the hands down to the floor, rise up on your tiptoes behind you. Here's our runner's lunge. Firm press into the mat with the hands. Even lift the hips. Can you see how I've lifted my hips? It just takes some of the weight off of that left foot so I can slide it back. Plank pose. Gently set the knees down. Don't worry if they're not underneath the hips because they don't have to be. Just set the knees down. Lengthen the feet. So you're on the tops of the feet. Again, this is getting us ready for Cobra. Let's do one more thing to get us ready for Cobra. Bend your elbows a little bit and start to lower your chest just a little bit. You're going to feel the energy and strength in your arms, maybe your chest, but we're not going down all the way. And then push back. Tuck your toes. Sit back to our half hero again. Right there. Some more counter stretching for the wrists. Now we're going to go back up to a standing position so we can continue working the shoulders and upper back and open up through the chest. All right, hands back out front because we're going to return to down dog. Spread out your fingers. We'll start with that cat-cow because it's a nice transition. Inhale, look up or forward, create the back bend. Exhale, round it out, hold cat. Lift your knees, lift your hips. There's downward facing dog. Hold for a moment. As best as you can, feel that nice fully extended spine. Relax your head. Then start walking forward, feet to the center of your mat. Feet firmly connected to the ground. Slide your fingers towards your toes. This is a deep forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs until you're only up halfway. Half forward fold. flat back like a table. Now, shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, lower your hips, look up or forward, spread your wings, inhale, rising nice and tall, reach into the air, and exhale, arms down to your side. Shake this out. Alrighty. Now, we're going to do a little work of just kind of opening up through the chest, engaging the upper back muscles and rolling our shoulders back. This is where you're going to use your strap or a towel. If you don't have any of those things, you can just reach back, okay, with empty hands, okay? So here's how we'll do this. Just going to bring your strap or towel behind you and just hold on to it like this. It doesn't matter if they're far apart because they can just be just like this, nice, comfortable, just as long as the hands are behind you, okay? And then just roll the shoulders back. And as you're able, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Remember, imagine you have a pencil along the spine, up and down the spine. You're trying to squeeze to hold on to it. The strap or the towel or whatever you're holding on to behind you is just to keep the arms behind you. And if you happen to not have a prop, just reach back and even imagine maybe you're holding on to, let's say, a box between your hands. And that should work just fine. Hold here. Now hopefully you can see this. Shoulders are rolled back. Reaching back or holding onto the strap or towel. Now let's just take some deep breaths. You want to fill up this upper region right across the collarbones. Inhale. A lift and expansion. Exhale, squeeze or hold onto that box or squeeze that pencil more. Again, inhale, fill it up. Exhale, squeeze. You're also drawing belly in a little bit, actually quite a bit. So a lot of engagement. That's also going to help us with our back bend, the Cobra Pose, by engaging the belly button towards spine. Remember that sensation. 2 more breaths. You might be feeling a little tired here, but we'll soon relax. As we exhale, squeeze. And then we'll let it go. And just notice that shift, notice that change for a very engaged body. And then letting it go. If you're using a prop, you can just set it on the floor. Okay, shake all that out. All right, now let's make our way down to the floor. We'll go through a flow and start working our way carefully into Bhujangasana. Now that's just the Sanskrit name of Cobra Pose. I'm just going to move my strap out of the way and adjust my mat. Here we go. We're going to inhale, take the arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees. Slowly fold, bring the arms down, let the head drop right there. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, re-extending the spine. Exhale, fold, let the back round, lower your head, bend the knees more, plant the hands into the mat, walk or step both feet back into plank pose. Let's draw this straight line, hold. Now bring knees to the floor, sit back all the way to hero, just so you can sit off to the side and swing the legs around to the front. Sit in the center of your mat, grab your books or blocks, because we need to get into our back bend, okay? Bridge pose, again, something we always do in soft flow, but also it's a nice preparatory position for our Cobra Pose. Carefully roll down onto your back and bring knees to chest. A little hug here and even add some movement here. I'm going to encourage you to get into your feet too. So flex the feet and then point. Do that one more time. Flex and point and keep that pointed sensation and feel that lengthening quality on the top of the foot, right through the ankle, right up to the shin, and then just relax the feet. You might even circle the ankles, kind of shake it out, so to speak. A little bit more movement in the back body, and then we'll get ready for bridge. Now, set your feet onto the floor, grab your blocks, breathe in, fill up your lungs as best as you can. Exhale, empty your belly. It's also a nice engagement of your core. With that, lifting the hips high enough so you can slide your props underneath you to sit on. It's a nice mild back bend, not too much engagement, but it certainly opens the front part of the body.
Since it is a little bit more relaxing, we can pay attention to what's happening in the upper body here. I don't know if you just noticed, but what I did was I just kind of lifted my left side so I can actually get this shoulder kind of underneath me. We're going to do that same with the right side. Now imagine you were standing, okay? Standing, we had the arms and hands behind us. It's the similar sensation here. We just happen to be lying down, hips lifted. Okay, so you can get the arms, in this case, underneath you, but imagine you're standing and the arms are behind you. Okay, and now with that sensation, take some deep breaths. Again, filling up that chest space, just like we did in that standing posture. Filling up the lungs right up to the collarbones. Exhale. 2 more times like that. Feeling as best as you can that expansion of the chest. With the exhale, it might feel not as engaging, but we're still trying to engage the belly by pulling the belly button down towards spine, but in a back bend, in this fashion, it might be a little bit difficult to feel it fully. But imagine it at least. Have the intention of it. Now, just relax. Let that go. And then press feet into the floor so you can lift your hips. Let's remove the blocks, set them to the side, and just make your way all the way down to the ground. Go ahead and extend the legs out front, reach the arms behind you, and just reach and stretch in these opposite directions. And then once again, we'll draw the knees into chest. We're going to make our way up to seated. If you're able, you can rock your way forward and back, forward enough to rock your way up to seated, or roll to one side, which I'm doing, and use your hands and press yourself up to a seated posture. Let's do a variation of boat that I like to do. So sitting up tall, knees bent, flex the feet to energize the legs, and just hold on underneath the knees. And use that handlebar feeling to lift yourself up so the back is straight. Inhale for that expression. As we exhale, engage your core and just lean back a little bit. You don't have to go back too far. Okay, and just keep this core engagement. Notice this sensation because it's a supportive posture. Alrighty? Because we're going to be doing that as we get into our Cobra Pose. We're almost ready to get into it. We'll certainly break it down. One more breath in and out. And then you can relax. Alrighty, we're going to swing the legs back around behind us. Come to hands and knees. Now, if you happen to be on a harder surface, like a hardwood floor with a yoga mat, you might want to either double up on yoga mats if you happen to have another mat, or bring in that soft towel or blanket. And I'm just going to open mine up a little wider and lay it out on my mat. Now I've got carpet and I've got a pretty thick mat. This is just adding a little extra comfort. Alrighty. Now remember, just a little warning here. We are working on our bellies. If there is any condition that prevents you from lying on your belly, then you don't have to do this. Maybe you can just watch, or even come to a pose, something like this, and just roll the shoulders back, just to keep practicing that sensation, okay, of rolling shoulders back, opening up through chest. Here's the back bend. Okay, follow me if you'd like, or just watch. So I've stepped the hands forward. I'm still on my knees. Hold here. Basically, I'm just going to do a push-up. Alrighty? Follow me as best as you can. So I'm bending the elbows and just starting to lower myself down. Carefully, slowly. Now, if you just kind of lose the strength and kind of fall, hopefully you have something soft to land on. So we're here. Hands kind of wide underneath the shoulders. Long legs, point your toes. Remember when I had you lengthen the feet and you felt that stretch quality through the tops of the feet? So you're doing that here. Nice straight line. Now really reach through your toes to the back of the room. With your hands underneath your shoulders, spread out your fingers as best as you can. Grip the mat or blanket that's underneath you so you can try to pull yourself forward. Okay, so we're moving in two directions. Reach through your toes behind you and a little pull. forward. We're trying to make as much space as we can in the low back. Now my chest is already slightly lifted, which means we're already in a back bend. Okay, but we're going to go a little bit more, which requires the rolling of the shoulders back. Squeeze the imaginary pencil along the spine. Okay, can you feel that? You might even feel this in the low back. You can even come down a little lower. We don't have to lift very high. Inhale, extending through the toes. Grip the mat, pull forward. Even feel like the crown of your head is leading you forward. Then when you exhale, roll the shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together, and you're trying to pull your belly button up off the ground. It won't, but that's what you're trying to do. You're feeling the glutes engage here too. Now we're holding this a long time. Now let's go ahead and relax. What you can do to relax is maybe bring the hands forward. Maybe turn your head and just rest your head on your stacked hands, just so you can completely relax here. We were in that pose a long time. Essentially, that was Cobra Pose. Okay, we didn't lift very high, nor do you need to. You just want to have the sensation of lengthening through the body to make the space in that low back so you don't feel like you're pinching or binding in that area. We're rolling the shoulders back, which engages the upper back, which gives your body energy to actually lift. It almost lifts on its own. But the hands are also somewhat pressing into the mat to lift yourself up, but not very high. Let's try it again. Just reposition your hands kind of underneath the shoulders, but kind of wide. Now keep your focus down. You don't have to lift your head to look forward. That might put a strain in the neck. Now, even with the slight lift, you're already engaging the posture. We just need to make a little bit more space. Lengthen the legs, point through your toes, grip the mat with your fingers, pull. Feel like you're going forward and back at the same time. That's an inhale. When you exhale, roll the shoulders away from the floor, squeeze shoulder blades together, squeeze the pencil, pull belly button up towards spine. With that engaged upper back, you might be able to lift a little, not very high at all. Sometimes this is also called locust pose because of the low position. I'm going to give you another version of this in a moment. We're going to come back down, same relaxation, hands underneath your head here. I'm just turning my head to the side and just resting my head on the stacked hands. So that's a really low version of a back bend, Cobra, Bhujangasana. We're going to lift it up a little higher, but we're going to change our arm posture. One more breath. Now, instead of just being propped up onto the hands, out to the side, come to your elbows. So we're here. Can you see this? This might even give you a little bit more support, and it takes some of the pressure off the low back, but it's the same awareness and movement. So your arms are out in front of you, kind of parallel to each other, kind of like Sphinx, or a Sphinx. You know what a Sphinx is? And you're going to grip your mat with your fingertips, pull, point your toes, reach back. Again, we're moving in opposite directions. Okay, you don't actually move, but there's an extending quality, an opening, releasing energy in your low back. Neck is neutral. I'm inhaling to find this extension. Exhale, just pull belly button towards spine. It might actually leave the floor. Shoulders are rolled back, but you won't be able to engage the upper back as much as the other position. And we're lifted. And so this is more of that low cobra or sphinx, kind of guiding us in preparation for an upward facing dog, which is a little bit more dynamic of a back bend. This is wonderful for strengthening your back muscles, the erector muscles, the muscles that kind of support your spine. Let's go ahead and relax, come back down, rest, take a few breaths. You can even flex the toes. You can get a counter stretch for the toes if you need to. So that's our posture for today. We did a lot of build up, working the shoulders, chest and back, even your core, to move into this back bend that you do lying on your belly. All right, let's get the hands underneath us again to help press ourselves up to hands and knees. Right here, let's get the knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. Let's just do cat-cow again. Inhale to create the back bend, right there. Exhale, rounding. And just do that as many times as you like. Again, creating nice mobility through the spine, keeping the mobility in the pelvis, but also a way of just kind of conditioning or relieving the back a little bit after doing those back bends on the floor. What you may also want to do is make some circles. I'm doing big circles with the hips. I'm going around to the left a few times, and then you can go back around to the right. Just adding some nice fluidity here. And when we're done, coming back to our hero, sit off to the side, swing the legs around to the front. Now don't forget, if you're using a blanket or a towel, you can leave it there if you want, but I'm going to move mine out of the way. Sit in the center of your mat, and you'll once again roll down onto your back. I'll meet you there. Go ahead and hug your knees into chest. Add some movement here. Nice massage, okay, especially in the low back, because in those low cobra positions, Cobra Pose, it does affect the low back quite a bit, even though you're engaging the upper back. So some movement here is a nice massage. Flex the feet, point, flex, point, and then some circles, and if you're able, wiggle your toes. Let's take a leg extension, okay, something to take us upside down. So I'm going to do this version. If your blocks are nearby, set your feet on the floor. I'm going to get one block at least. Lift the hips, slide a block underneath you, especially if you have thicker blocks. Mine are thin blocks. But if you have a thicker block, just one is fine. And then extend both legs up into the air. Just lift the hips a little bit. It might be a little bit more comfortable. And take the legs up. Knees can be slightly bent if you'd like, or extend them a little bit more. So an inversion, just something upside down where your feet are well above the heart here. You can even add more movement. I always like to get into my joints. Even the knees with a little bicycle pedaling. Gets in the pelvis a little bit. Knees, ankles. We'll add a little movement if you like. Very nice. And when you're complete, you can just bend your knees, set your feet back down onto the floor. You can move your block out of the way. Let's bring the knees into chest, catch the shins in your hands. Flex the feet a little bit. You don't have to force it too much. Just flex the feet a little. We're going to open the legs. Just take them wide. Okay, I just call this an upside down frog pose. It's really just kind of a version of happy baby pose. It's almost like we're working towards happy baby pose, but not taking the full posture. Just taking the legs wide, but without taking the feet up. Okay, so here is fine because it gets right in those inner thighs, which is great. It certainly affects the hips and pelvis, and that certainly affects the low back. Everything's connected. You can even add some movement here. And then we'll bring the knees together. We'll finish with a twist. We'll take the knees over to the left side as you extend your right arm off to the right side. And just holding here for several breaths. Feeling this nice twisting sensation. This too should kind of recondition the low back after doing those back bends. And it's really just the holding factor of those back bends that can get into that low back. So any kind of movement to help relieve any tension that builds up there is nice. Even if you're not doing back bends, I mean, just think about things that you do every day. I mean, you might sit a long time or stand a long time. Always nice to get some mobility back in the body. Okay, let's come back up to center from this first twist. Hold here at center. And then we'll take the knees over to the right side. Knees to the right. Now you can stay just like this for a little added sensation, taking the left arm off to the left side. If that's too much, you can always just keep the left arm a little bit more relaxed, down by your side. Let the body settle, release and relax. Actually, we'll do one more pose after this twist. Just another hip opener. Just help relieve that low back a tiny bit more. All right, when you're ready, come back up to center. Catch the knees or shins with the hands. Bring the legs together. Just going to squeeze them together. All right, make sure the feet are still touching as you now take the knees wide, and maybe get the knees to kind of point to the sides of the room. And the feet, the soles of the feet will touch. Grab hold of your shins or ankles. Hold here for a moment like this. Now this will resemble the seated position of this, which was cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. We're just doing the supine version or the lying down version. So just like this, with feet up in the air like this. But then we can do the relaxed version by setting the feet onto the floor, soles of the feet touching, knees kind of weighted outward. And then you can really relax here. And just holding for several breaths. Very good. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. Again, with this hip opener, yes, it gets into the inner thighs, but there's kind of a releasing quality at times for the low back in this position too. When you're complete, you can just bring the knees back up and together. Extend the legs out in front of you. Your legs might even come apart a little bit so it feels a little bit more natural. Arms just resting down by your side. And then you can just completely release and relax into Shavasana. I'm going to hold here for a couple breaths, but I'm going to lift up and go get my pillow, my bolster, just for a little added support for my back. Sometimes lying flat on your back isn't the most comfortable position to be in, even when you're just trying to relax. So anything that you need or want to do to have that relaxation, that might just mean a blanket underneath you or on top of you if the body feels cool. Something to support your head, like a pillow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rise up, so I'm breaking my pose. So I can go get my bolster and bringing it underneath my legs. So my knees will be kind of bent and the legs just kind of drape over the bolster. And for me, this feels so nice because then I feel like my back is really relaxed here. You can even just do something just to elevate the legs or elevate the feet. Again, finding that posture that you'll be able to really relax. Just spend a few minutes here. An opportunity to move into a wonderful meditative state of mind and body. So this can be done with eyes open, but as you're able, close your eyes. Take your journey inward. And just continue to focus on your breath in this moment of meditation. Just feel the breath as it moves through your body. Maybe listen to the sound of your breath. And just these two sensations keep you in the moment. It keeps you in this meditative state. Meditation is just an extended version of concentration. So concentrate on the sound and feeling of your breath and just extend it. That's meditation. If at any time your mind begins to wander, that usually occurs when your mind shifts away from the breath, like your breath might soften or get quiet. Then your mind starts to get active. Just take another deep breath and maybe continue with that deep breathing to get you out of thought and back into the present moment. Again, keep this mindful connection to the breath. If your mind begins to wander, no need to judge yourself over that. This happens all the time. Just acknowledge the situation. Oops, my mind began to wander. Take a deep breath and come back to the present moment. And once you've found yourself in this wonderful state of meditation, feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice, you can stay here and continue your meditative practice. When it is time to move, before moving the body too quickly and out of this relaxed state, start with breath. Just deepen the connection to breath. Return to the awareness of the breath. And maybe just take 5 slow, deep breaths. Mindful breathing, intentional breathing. And even starting to feel movement return to your body. Start in a subtle fashion as it starts to build. And then sometime after the breath, as you have felt energy return to the body, you might slowly and carefully roll to one side of your body. You can briefly hold in this nurturing position. And with another new breath, guide your way up and return to seated. Just returning to the place where we began our practice. And maybe feel free to sit on your blanket or a pillow. As you're able, cross your legs. Find that re-extension of your spine and the shoulders gently rolled back and down by your side. Hold for a breath or two. Nice. And just add one more movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart, taking one more breath into your heart space. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.